Coach, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm great, man. How y'all doing, fellas?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for coming on this morning. We appreciate you joining us.
All good, man. My pleasure. I apologize about last week, man, but I'm here now, so let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem. No problem. So look, starting off, man. Congratulations on the gig. Everybody, let y'all know he is the new coach of the McEachern High School in Georgia. Very popular, very well-known program around the nation. How does it feel to be back in Atlanta?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm excited to be back in the city that I love. I was here for a long time previously, and so to have the opportunity to come back to a place I'm familiar with at a program like McEachern, man, was a great opportunity. So I'm excited about what's to come.
All right, my bad. I ain't got the questions pulled up. KB, my fault. That's my bad. That's my bad, Coach.
Are you good? So how does it feel coming back to McEachern compared to from when you left Westlake? Folks don't know you were at Westlake for years, state championships. Like the resume is long.
Yeah.
The resume is long. So how does it feel? How's this different? After coming back.
It's obviously. I mean, I've been out of the high school game for a couple of years, so things move fast, things change as the world kind of evolved post COVID, and so recruiting's changed a lot, things of that nature, and so I kind of got to get reacclimated to that. But when I was at Westlake and then I was at Griffin after Westlake, I always looked at McEachern as a place that's really, really special and really, really unique. And I said if the job ever came open, like I would try to pursue it and see if I could get it. And, if you know anything about McEachern, man, the facilities are amazing.
Yes.
They have a history and tradition of winning. They never won a state championship, but they've gotten close. And then they put a lot of players in school, and then they have, almost unlimited resources here in terms of what we can do for the program, what we can do for the players, in terms of nutrition, travel, things of that nature. And so it's a really unique setup, and it was, a great opportunity.
Gotcha. Coach, what initially made you want to start coaching or made you want to actually get into coaching?
Yeah, so I knew I always wanted to do something like in sports. After I got done playing at UCF, I kind of was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with life, right? And so it was two things. I got my degree in criminal justice, and then so I wanted to, explore possibly a career in law enforcement. And while I was going through that process, one of my buddies that I played with actually hit me up about, coming out to help him out at a local high school and at coaching. And so when I, went out there, I just kind of fell in love with it, and it took off really, really fast for me. And I knew like I wanted to do something in the athletics arena, specifically football, because that was my area of expertise, right? And so I know what the game did for me in terms of giving me an opportunity to get a college degree. I met a lot of lifelong friends, traveled a lot of places because of the game of football. And so I knew that I wanted to give those experiences back to, guys behind me and kind of, lift as I climb, so to speak. And that's why I kind of got into coaching.
Okay, cool.
Now, what are some of the coaches that you looked up to when you started coaching, like when, you first got into it?
Yeah, so, the guy that I actually played for has played a big, influence in my coaching philosophy and style, which is George O'Leary. He was very, very tough to play for. And at the time, it wasn't always fun. But looking back at that experience as an adult, I pull a lot of things from what, he taught us in terms of structure, organization, accountability. And I incorporated those things into my own personal life. And it's allowed me to have success. And so I kind of built my programs based on those core values and principles as well. And so George O'Leary influenced me a lot. The next guy would probably be Ray Bonner, who I work for at Cedar Grove High School. He's a legendary high school coach here in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
He kind of got the foundation started at Cedar Grove, and then it kind of took off from there. And so I was on staff with him, Jimmy Smith, who's a running backs coach at Arkansas. Miguel Patrick is the D-line coach at UAB now. Perry Parks is the wide receiver coach at Coastal Carolina. So we had like a ton of like all-star young coaches, and we all kind of cut our teeth in the profession there. And Ray B taught us a lot, man, like just how to deal with kids, build relationships, because he let us run practice, but he just came down and kind of had those relationships with the kids, and they all loved him, kind of like an OG, you know what I'm saying? And so,
I got you.
yeah, like that he's one of my definite mentors. And I learned a lot from, Coach Napier being at Florida, man, like very organized, detailed, structured, very intentional, very patient and intentional about how he moves and goes about things. And so, I'm definitely going to take some stuff I learned there with me here.
Guys, what do you think the biggest difference will be, Coach, between coaching in college and coaching in high school?
It's a lot of
besides the obvious, of course, you're dealing with a lot of TV media personnel. I know McEachern, like you said, has a lot of resources. I actually have a best friend that live in the neighborhood right beside the school, so I'm up there all the time, man. I'm very familiar with the campuses and been to a lot of y'all games. What do you think the biggest difference will be, or adjustment will be for you yourself?
I think, being that I started as a high school coach, for me, man, it's kind of like riding a bike. You kind of never forget how to do it, right?
Gotcha.
But I'm going to be better this go-round because of what I learned on the next level. And I think where I bring value to a high school program is that I've actually sat on the other side of the deal. You know what I'm saying? Being in college, I know the kind of conversations they're having inside those rooms when it comes to recruiting, what they're looking for specifically in terms of, dimensions on kids and things of that nature. So I can kind of guide my kids through, that process and let them know, this is BS, don't go to this, go to that, and kind of help them better find a fit, right? And then obviously, for me, I think in college you have a lot of time to kind of sit there and just really dissect, play schematically, things of that nature, and game plan. Whereas in high school, you kind of got to balance a few other things as well. So that'll be a small adjustment for me, but nothing that I can't handle because the infrastructure here is really, really good. And the administration allows me to kind of, be free and do what I need to do to get the program right. So I think I'll be, a lot better this go around because of what I learned on the next level.
That's dope. That's dope. Now this is a curveball question, Steve, so I apologize. But I was just wondering, how did the Florida thing even?
Oh, hell, here we go.
But I ain't gonna keep it Florida. I ain't gonna mess with Steve today. You know what I'm saying?
That was just playing.
Now, how did that opportunity even present itself?
Yeah, so college football, man, is kind of like all about who you know, or who knows you, right? And that's how they hire, man. Like, believe it or not, it's sometimes not even based off your ability or what you can do. It has to do with, what kind of value do you bring to the table in recruiting, and, basically who knows you, right? So I met Coach Napier back in 2015 when he was a receiver coach at Alabama. And so he was recruiting. I had 3 Army All-Americans on my team. Trayvon Mullen plays for the Ravens now. Benjamin Victor, who ended up going to Ohio State, who was the kid he was recruiting. He was a receiver. And then I had Malik Young, who ended up going to Miami. And so all 3 of those guys, were, like I said, Army All-Americans. He came in. He kind of just saw the structure I had, how I kind of went about my business. I was prepared, organized. I ran my practices pretty smooth, and he just kind of kept up with me. A lot of college coaches, I met through that recruiting, deal over the years, being a high school guy and having a lot of highly rated kids. And so, he just followed me. And so when I got to UCF, I was there for a year with Gus, and then he got to Florida. He needed a guy that had connections in both Atlanta and South Florida. And then he had a D-line opportunity open, and he asked me if I wanted to join him. And I said, absolutely.
That's cool. I always wondered, like, when folks make that jump, from high school to college, it's like, how does that even happen? So thank you for giving us that insight. Now, what's more fulfilling, if you can choose one, getting a kid from high school to college or getting a guy from college ready for the NFL?
Yeah, definitely getting a kid from high school to college is more rewarding to me because that will change the entire trajectory of his life and maybe even his family's life, right? Getting a college degree, opening him up to those experiences I can just think about one guy in particular. My very first kid, as a head coach that I helped get a scholarship. He was my only signee that year, my first year. His name is Lucas Irons. He went to Liberty University, and he was a kid that was at-risk kid. He went to a bunch of alternative schools for his first 3 years. He got kicked out of his first high school, and his last year he came to me at Coconut Creek, and Coconut Creek was kind of like almost like a halfway house, so to speak, for kids that are at risk, man. Like when they get kicked out of their school, they go to alternative school, and then they bring them back in the system through Coconut Creek. So when he came to us, he hadn't played ball since his freshman year, and it was like JV, right? And so he came to us. He played varsity for 1 year. Obviously, his last year, he was our starting linebacker. Had an unbelievable season. And I kept telling him, like, he didn't have any offers because he wasn't going to no camps and things of that nature in the summertime. And I told him, man, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you there. I'm going to get you there. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do, get your grades. I was staying on top of him about his grades because he was kind of like lax in that area. Long story short, he ended up going to Liberty on a full ride, right? Had a good career towards ACLs last year, but he ended up graduating, and now he's in medical sales, making six figures. You know what I'm saying? Bought his first house at 27 years old.
Oh, word. That's what's up.
Yeah, he's the first college graduate in his immediate family. And so, like, that changed his whole life, just going to school, right? NFL is cool. It's not for long, though. That's what it stands for, NFL, right? Getting that college degree, getting a kid to that next level, and getting him out of his environment where he's not necessarily always surrounded by the most positive people. That'll help him more than getting to the NFL.
Gotcha. Coach, how do you feel about this thing with NIL coming from the college level, going back to high school, and how do you deal with kids in high school level trying to focus on NIL? Have you even had to deal with it as of yet?
Not yet. I think NIL, man, it's kind of got screwed up because the intention of it was to allow college kids to monetize off their name, image, and likeness, right? But now it's kind of being perverted where kids are leveraging it and only strictly concerned about it in the recruiting process. So they're making mistakes and going to places just for the money instead of going for where they actually fit, where they're going to be coached up and actually get a good experience, right? Because you can look at schools like, you know, for example, the A&Ms of the world, like Texas A&M. They had a top recruiting class, but three-quarters of their recruiting class left in a year. You know what I'm saying? So they went and got a bag for a year, or maybe they didn't even get it, right? And now they're gone. And now you're kind of all over the place. You're in the portal. You might get picked up. You might not. So I think, you know, NIL in its, original form and what it's intended to be is good. But when you start trying to leverage it, you know, in terms of recruiting and even against your own team, right? You know, letting people know like, hey, man, if you don't give me this kind of money, I'm going to get in the portal. Now it's kind of like you throwing a fly in the ointment that's kind of hard to remove.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so how do you feel as far as NIL being available to high school kids? Like we're seeing states make it like Florida, California, Texas. I think Louisiana has it now. Like
Texas.
You're starting to see more Texas. You're starting to see more to where these kids in high school now can get NIL, and seeing how, like you just said, it's perverted now. So it's just not, you know, the kid going to a Jeep commercial. It's the parents, it's the recruiting, it's everything.
Yeah, the parents, the funny thing, it's always the parents, man. The parents they make it real complicated sometimes. But you know, it's a slippery slope, man. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I wish I did. Like, you know, in terms of it coming down into the high schools, like it's probably only a matter of time before it comes here in Georgia. And you're just gonna have to adjust and adapt, man. I think anytime you involve money, it muddies the waters. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I don't know what the answer is. It's tough. It takes away, I think, from the pureness and authenticity of what team sports is about. But I get it though. If you have a popular kid like the kid Juju Lewis at Carrollton that can monetize and again change his entire family's life by signing an NIL deal, I can't be against that. Like, you know what I'm saying? He earned that. Yeah. And so I think, you know, you just got to continue to create value within your program as a head coach and make it attractive for where kids want to be there and enjoy their experience while they're with you.
Gotcha. Now, Coach, I had McEachern. You know, I'm here in Georgia. I follow high school football. I'm in Stockbridge. So I'm following heavy. McEachern was 4-6 last year. What do you guys do to turn that around this year, in your opinion? Have you had a chance to look at the film yet and say, this is kind of what I've seen and what I want to implement? How do you guys get back to the playoffs?
I think, man, at the end of the day, man, McEachern, these kids got pride. Just being here for 2 weeks, they want to work. They want to be better. I think the key is establishing relationships and building rapport with the players, the community, the parents, so that everybody's bought in to the mission at hand, right? And so when you get that buy-in, they're going to work and do exactly what you ask them to do, And so
Yep.
I don't think it'll be a hard flip. I think the biggest piece is just repairing the relationships in the community, being visible, making sure that our young players are being, staying with us within the program. And then, just teaching our kids ball, simplifying the game, both offensively, defensively, so they can play fast and physical and be who they are. And so after that, man, I think everything will take care of itself. I do think we have enough to be a playoff team. I think we have enough to compete for the region, and then once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
That's correct. Now, you say region. Funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask you this, too.
Right.
Now, you guys are in that new 7A that they created back in 2016, but now they're getting rid of it in the end of 2024. Have you guys been told already where you're going to go as far as relocating, region-wise?
Yeah, there's projections that I've seen, but, obviously nothing is going to be official. They're not going to release that for a while. So I really don't know. I've seen, like I said, projections, but that's just hearsay right now.
Gotcha. Okay. But they are getting rid of it in 2024. That is correct.
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what do you say? The last year they were 2-3 at home. For McEachern, I've been to McEachern games. Steve's been to McEachern games. I actually got the referee of McEachern game, which is nuts. So talk about the home field advantage of a McEachern. I know a lot of guys that went to McEachern, a lot of alumni, and they proud of having that M on their chest. Man, how do you plan on using that alumni base and just that community to kind of get that excitement back into the McEachern stands?
I think, making those guys know that they always welcome to come back, man. Like I know how I feel when I go back to UCF and they let me get sideline access and you know what I'm saying? Like I still highlight the players and things of that nature, and just again reconnecting with those cats, letting them know they always welcome to come here. This is their program, right? Like McEachern was here before me, it's gonna be here long after me. So them guys, had literally laid blood, sweat, and tears into the program. They invested in it, and they're always welcome to come back and be a part of it. Talk to the team if they want to. You know what I'm saying? I always make time for the alumni to feel a part of what we got going on here, because at the end of the day, they'll forever be McEachern. Coaches change, but you are who you are when you graduate from a place, and so I respect that, and just continue to build those relationships so they know that they're welcome.
Yes. Now, Coach, as a new coach coming into a new program, like I said, you've been there for 2 weeks. Last year, you guys ended on a 3-game slide. Like, how do you get them to get rid of that or get past that or get that taste out of their mouth to move on to a new season? Preseason workouts are about to start for you guys now, of course. Off-season workouts, rather. What's your approach when you're coming in as a new coach to kind of change the culture for your team?
Yeah. I mean, last year is last year. Like, that's done and over with. We have nothing to do with that. We moving forward. You know what I'm saying? And so you come in and you immediately establish new norms and expectations. You kind of lay the vision out, which I've done, last week, and kind of tell them, like, okay, this is where we want to go, and then this is how we're going to get there. You kind of give them the answer to the test, right? So you put it in front of them, and then once you make a plan, you work the plan. You know what I'm saying? And so we've been starting to work the plan already, and starting Monday, we got, after school conditioning drills and things of that nature we're going to start doing with the guys. And so you just start working your plan, man, and you try to be as organized as possible. And I think when the kids see that, this guy knows what he's talking about, he's organized, he's ready to go, they all for it. But these guys, they've been working great, man. Like I said, I've been shocked completely, like at how fastly they bought in. They were ready for some change. They were ready for some fresh energy. You know what I'm saying? And I think I consider myself to be a bit of a player's coach in a sense where I'm gonna listen to them. I'm gonna hear what they say. I ask them questions like, "What were the issues here last year? What did you guys want? What do you guys want to see moving forward from us and as a program and as a school, right?" And then when you listen to them and you hear them out, you try to make accommodations to make sure that they have what they need to be the best versions of themselves every day.
Yes, sir. Nice. I agree.
Do you have any guys that's standing out already? Like you say, you just got there a few weeks ago, but Any players that you're like, yeah, this kid, man, I can tell he's gonna
I
be.
know some kids, but I don't know if they returning, so I ain't gonna say. I did my research here. I know some guys. They were junior last year. I don't know if they're coming back as seniors, so I won't mention no names.
I got you. But no, I have. I mean, a couple kids that, right now we just been in the weight room for the most part, but I watch tape. I know Daniel James, he's a corner that's really, really highly recruited. He's getting offers every single day. I think he just popped Wake Forest right before we jumped on here. But, he's a kid that works really hard. He asks a lot of questions. He's articulate. He's smart. So I can tell he got something to him. And his tape is really good, too. RJ Eccles would be another kid. He's a two-way player.
That's the one. That's the one that I seen all over. You got your wide receiver there, I believe, and
corner too, safety. Yeah, he's
quarterback.
Athlete, so
yeah.
So we'll see. But he's been working good. Parker McClendon is an offensive lineman. That's also really good for him. He's their center last year. He's a solid kid, really strong athlete. So we got some pieces, and then our quarterback, Jaden Kinney, he's going to be pretty good too, man. I think he had an ACL injury last year, but, from watching the games he did playing, he can throw it around and he can run. So he can really use, hurt people with his legs. And I'm excited about, what's to come for him.
Son, he got a nice little core to start with, man. Spoils the riches out there in McEachern.
Yeah, man. Good players make good coaches, man. So
that's true.
Don't be fooled.
That's true. That's true.
That's 100% real. So professionally, right? Like you said, you went to Westlake, you was at Griffin, you got to go to Florida, get that under your belt, now that you're McEachern. Like, what's your ultimate goal? Like your dream goal? Are you a guy that's like, yo, I'm gonna just be a high school legend, do this for 50 years and go down the history books, or you want a college pros? Like, what do you want for yourself?
Yeah, so like initially, like you asked me this question 5 years ago, it was I want to be a college coach. Like that was my goal. So I took jobs to strategically align with where I can have success and then get an opportunity. And so but now being that I've kind of checked that box in my head, I'm happy here. This was a dream job of mine as a high school coach. I said, if I ever get the McEachern job, like that's my dream job. I'm gonna go there and sit down for a while, And so I'm here now. My immediate goal is to win a state championship. And so, once I do that, we'll see what happens. Maybe I want to do it again in a couple more times and continue to do it, But I'm really happy here. The administration's been great. The resources here are unbelievable. This is a really unique place. Like it's just, I don't know, man. Like it'll be hard to walk away from this place. It'll have to take a really unique opportunity for me to leave. And so I have no intentions of going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah, when you walk on the campus, you really feel like it's different. Even riding by the school, like I said, my best friend, man, he lives right in that neighborhood next to the school, and bro, you feel the difference. He talks about the band, he hears the band playing, practicing. He's like, bro, you feel like you really at the game during the practice. So yeah. No, McEachern's different. It's different.
Nah, it's super different, man. Like I said, like it's like a mini college for real.
Yeah.
Like every varsity sport has their own practice facility. Like we gotta again, the resources are just unbelievable. It's unique. And then the proximity to Atlanta makes it special too, because like it's not like you got to go way to South Georgia or way up in the mountains to North Georgia or way out west. You right here outside of Atlanta, so you get to still enjoy all the perks of living in the city, but you gonna coach big time football and have all the resources of all those other places.
Man, I got to referee. Well, I guess be the clock referee on the sideline for a McEachern game. McEachern and Grayson, I was like, yo, it's different. I said that this is different. And I was just surprised that, because I got to do like McEachern middle and JV, but that varsity atmosphere, I was like, yo, this is I don't get how these kids, man, like the mentality to play in front of the people like that. I'm like, yo, you gotta be that guy or know you're that guy to even get in that
There's
crowd.
nothing going on in Powder Springs on a Friday night but McEachern football. You got McEachern out there. I think it's another big one around the corner. But yeah, football. It's football on Friday. Football in Georgia is huge, man. And Coach, I'm happy you now a part of this, man. I'm happy you coming out here. You planted your flag at McEachern. I'm gonna be watching, man. I'm gonna be at the games. Definitely hit you up, man, to see if we can get you back on, talk about how you guys' season is going. If you ever got any players that you want to get interview skills, that's kind of why we do this. We want to connect with the players, get them that personable skills that they're gonna need on the next level. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to be able to speak to people if they want to get their NIL, or if they want to be able to be on TV and have those interviews. So that's what this platform is for. That's what we love to do. We talk sports, but we love to give those athletes a chance to come on and shine on any level. So
especially the big guys.
Yeah, we love the big guys. Yeah, the big guys.
Man,
yeah, the O lineman and D lineman, we show them extra love because my boy KB got film every week. He playing D lineman now, so offensive lineman. So, Coach, man, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
I got one.
You got one more. My bad.
I got one last question, and this is a more of a personal thing. What advice would you give to a guy or lady wanting to follow kind of your footsteps at coaching at high school and college, because you're a relatively young guy and you've got a lot of coaching under your belt, just navigating, man, like you have a family, you have all these things that people kind of use as an excuse not to get into it, because coaching is it's a whole lot of time.
Sacrifice, for sure.
Yeah, man. So what advice would you give someone that's trying to carve out that career path of just being a coach?
I think you got to, first of all, like you said, you got to understand it's a sacrifice. It takes sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Both time-wise, sometimes financially, right? And so you got to understand that that's part of the deal. You got to understand that sometimes you're going to have to move and be mobile, right? Like I moved 3 times in the past 2 years, and I'm just tired of moving. But, that's why I said I'm going to sit down for a little while. But
I got you.
But, I think the first thing is be a star in whatever role you're in at the moment, right? Be a star in your role. Do your job and own it wherever you're at. I like to say grow where you're planted, right? Because once you do a great job for whoever you're working for, they will have no issue with you pursuing something for yourself and helping you get there. And so I was a great assistant before I became a head coach, right? And so I took pride in, my unit, my D-line, and then I took pride in being a coordinator. Then obviously I take pride in being a head coach, and I always made sure I presented myself and understood that everything. And then when you meet, it's always an interview. You know what I'm saying? Because I never knew Coach Napier would be the head coach at the University of Florida, 7 years later after I met him. And so because he met me and I was organized, prepared, and I understood that, I stuck in his brain. And when he got an opportunity to hire me, he did at SEC school. And so, I think understanding that piece and then just understanding the sacrifices that you're going to have to take and make to aspire to whatever level it is you want to be at, you'll be able to navigate a whole lot better that way. And so that would be my advice: just grow where you're planted, be organized, professional, dependable, and then when you do make a move, make sure you make a strategic move to align with your goals and your visions for success.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Like Steve said, man, we appreciate you coming on here, man, and we definitely gonna be following. Look, we got a couple schools in Georgia got to follow. Griffin, Touchdown Tony.
Yeah, you got to touch the quarterback from Griffin. How long ago were you at Griffin, Coach?
I was there from 19 to 21. 2020. Yeah, just for 2 years.
So you may know Tony, the quarterback.
I coached his brother Prince. Like I had Tony too. Tony was a freshman when I was there.
Yeah, we had Tony on the show.
We had Tony on the show. Yes, sir.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah, we had Bryce Lovett, Florida. We had him before. I think he had just got the offer. He came on.
Okay. He's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, he was funny, man. But man, we're gonna keep in touch, man. And I know Steve, he's in the city. I'm in Texas. But I know he's gonna make his presence known if he goes to a McEachern game.
I'm going.
Anytime,
I'm there,
man.
I'm there, Coach.
Pull up, man. We got you.
Cool.
All right. Again, Coach, we appreciate it, man. We're gonna take a quick timeout, quick commercial break, and we'll be back. And again, Coach, we appreciate your time this morning.
All love, fellas. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right.